Miltank is an interesting Pokemon. This funny cow started off strong, with an OU position in its debut game. In Gen 2, Miltank has a solid role as a mixed wall with the utility of Heal Bell, reliable healing from Milk Drink, a hard-hitting Body Slam that can spread paralysis, and even the ability to 1v1 Snorlax using Growl. This would be the peak of Miltank's career, and the cow Pokemon would never achieve an OU position ever again. In Generation 8, Miltank was ranked in the depths of the ZU tier, and they didn't even have the decency to allow Miltank into the Paldea region in Gen 9. Back in Generation 3, while Miltank was not ranked OU, it was better than you might expect. It has pretty good stats, and Miltank has a great move pool, offering solid roll compression. While Blissey and Snorlax will have it beat most of the time as superior bulky normal types, Miltank has its uses here and there, and some high-level Gen 3 OU players, such as the Linear Curve and Johnny G2, have experimented with Miltank in tournaments. Let's explore what this humorous cow has to offer in a competitive environment. But first, don't forget to check out JimothyCool.com, where you'll find the absolute best koala-themed YouTuber merchandise in the entire world. Thank you. Miltank's defensive stats are alright, but being a normal type is not the best defensively. Snorlax and Blissey function well as normal types because of their outstanding defensive stats that are well above average. In their case, being neutral to most attacks in the game is a positive, but without any resistances, and a ghost immunity that doesn't really come up all that often, to be honest. Normal types need a little bit of a push if you want to rely on them as defensive walls. So it's good that Miltank has the all-new ability, Thick Fat, granting an effective resistance to fire and ice. This ability really helps Miltank out on the special defense side, since Miltank's base special defense stat is only 70. Because of Thick Fat, Miltank actually matches up pretty well against Moltres, resisting its fire type damage, and having Heal Bell to cure burn if they happen to use Will-O-Wisp. What's interesting about Miltank is that it's actually quite fast. Base 100 speed is really noteworthy on a Pokemon with a more defensive role like this. Miltank can very easily outrun just about every other defensive Pokemon in the game. Blissey, Snorlax, Melodic, Claydol, etc. With this higher speed and solid damage output from stab-boosted Body Slam, Miltank is not quite as passive as many of these other defensive Pokemon are. The vast majority of the time, Snorlax will be a better choice as a curse sweeper than Miltank, despite its lower speed. Snorlax just has such higher stats in other areas, is much better defensively and hits harder. But Snorlax is prone to being worn down. The only healing option Snorlax has is Rest, which is very punishable. When you rest, you are vulnerable for 2 turns and can't act. Miltank, on the other hand, has Milk Drink for that immediate healing. While Miltank won't hit as hard and is not as defensively powerful, the fact that it can heal up reliably without having to go to sleep to do so is really significant actually. Rest does have the benefit of healing your previous status ailment, but since Miltank has Heal Bell, you have that hole patched up as well. Plus, Heal Bell provides valuable utility to your team, healing their status ailments, and works great alongside Pokemon like Suicune and Rest Zapdos. This requires a lot of move slots though, and often your only attack is just going to be Body Slam. If you try to run coverage like Shadow Ball or Earthquake, you're going to be dropping something important like Healing or Heal Bell for status management. So often Miltank needs support to take out anything that can withstand normal type attacks. Magneton is a common partner to eliminate Skarmory and Forretress, as is Pursuit Tyranitar to take out Gengar and other ghost types. With this support, Miltank can function as a paralysis spreader, an interim defensive wall that is also a bit more proactive than something like Blissey, and even a win condition with Curse and a very spammable Body Slam. This team by Johnny G2 is built around this concept. Magneton is here to eliminate Skarmory, and Tyranitar to eliminate Gengar. Dragon Dance Settlements is a logical teammate here, since it also benefits from both Skarmory and Gengar being eliminated. And Metagross makes a lot of sense too, as a rock resist, which this team needs, as well as a physical threat. Meteor Mash becomes much more threatening with Skarmory eliminated, and with Gengar gone, Explosion is safer to click too. This Metagross is also running Hidden Power Grass as a way to lure in, swamp it, and deal unexpected super effective damage to it, which paves the way for a Salamence win condition. This team kicks things off very aggressively with a Choice Band Heracross lead. While you might expect Miltank to fit more in a balanced team or a slower paced team, this one is very fast paced. And I would say this is a team where Miltank really thrives over something like Snorlax. Moltres would really eat this team alive. You have multiple Pokemon weak to fire and Nothing Loves coming in on Will-O-Wisp, but Miltank offers some relief in that matchup that Snorlax can't. Spreading paralysis with Body Slam is useful for your team, allowing Metagross and Salamence to be more threatening. And Miltank itself is a pretty effective way to clean up an endgame after all of these explosive offensive defensive threats have done their job and weakened the enemy team to the point where a simple Miltank can out-heal them, boost up, and finish off whatever remains. Another archetype where Miltank can work is Paraspam. Paraspam is a team style aiming to spread as much paralysis as possible, stacking Thunderwave and Body Slam users, and then using slow but powerful offensive threats that really benefit from everything else having their speed gutted by paralysis. This team by the linear curve is a Paraspam Miltank team that was actually used in a tournament, featuring both Miltank and Rhydon. Linear curve's Miltank is not using Curse, but instead Thunderwave as an additional way to spread paralysis besides Body Slam. Thunderwave and Body Slam may seem like an anti-synergistic combo, but Body Slam does help you spread paralysis against ground types like Flygon and Swampert. If you've revealed Thunderwave already, a ground type would not expect you to also have Body Slam, and that's how you get them. This team is not using a Pursuit Tyranitar as a plan against Gengar, instead probably aiming to Thunderwave the Gengar coming in. Gengar might also assume it's completely safe to come in against Miltank, which tends to only run normal type attacks, only to be paralyzed and be completely ruined. I recently made a video about Rhydon and how it works on Paraspam teams, so it's logical to see a Rhydon on this team. This is the one area where Rhydon is actually a great choice, because against a paralyzed enemy, you have the fantastic combination of ground and rock stab, which are very threatening to most of the metagame, and the perfect coverage option of Megahorn, which hits things like Celebi and Claydol that could otherwise check you. This team is using a Magneton to eliminate Skarmory and spread paralysis with Thunderwave, and the team is also using Brick Break Snorlax as a way to improve your matchup against Tyranitar, since you don't have a very solid Tyranitar check here. This is definitely a really interesting approach to building around Miltank, and it's a team archetype where Miltank offers quite a lot. Paraspam teams like this can often suffer against status. Starmie is sometimes seen on Paraspam, and that can help. It has natural cure to heal its status ailments, and it spreads paralysis itself with Thunderwave. But these Magneton variants can struggle to fit the Starmie. Miltank not only synergizes with Magneton, it provides Heal Bell support, which is very, very worthwhile. I think Miltank is a slightly underexplored Pokemon in the Gen 3 metagame with some genuinely interesting qualities that you can build around. I've not really seen anyone else try this Thunderwave plus Body Slam concept since this linear curve team, but there is some potential there, and Miltank has other interesting options to explore too, like Focus Punch, Counter, and even Psych Up. Psych Up will copy the target's stat boosts. Maybe you could EV to outrun Tyranitar, Psych Up and take their Dragon Dance and hit them with an Earthquake. A bit unreliable though, since you have to dodge a flinch in the process here. Taking Curse boosts from an enemy Snorlax could be another practical application of this. What do you think of Miltank? Do you believe it has potential? And what are your thoughts on this image of myself wearing fantastic Jimothy Cool merchandise from jimothycool.com? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.